All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D. This is Rain Man AJ. We're coming at you with Season 7, Episode 21, Terrorist Teddy. We're sharing the story of UC Berkeley's youngest assistant professor ever and his terroristic exploits. Find us on Instagram and Patreon at pointsopressure.com. Pull it out and let's get to it, bitch.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
That felt a little bit more pointed. That felt a little more direct. Hey,
I mean, take it as it is.
Hey, you know,
interpret that as you may.
Good for you for being more direct with your intentions.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you been?
It's been 24 hours.
I'm so much more awake. I'm still really tired, but I'm so much more awake.
Good. If you would like an inside look at delusional AJ.
No, I still think that joke I made that we're not going to be too specific about is really funny. I think that would be a funny bit.
Jesus Christ. The thing is, we won't get into it. If you want an inside look at AJ dying to stay awake, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/pointsopressure. We released the exclusive on Saturday. So check that out. And if you are a subscriber, you best go listen to it.
Yeah.
And if you want ad-free, go on there too. But
Yep.
How was your week?
It was good. Busy. Been working. Gonna work this week, and I'm almost done with training, so I'll finally get down to those 3 shifts.
Nice.
More regularity than what I've been dealing with. I'm all over the
So
place.
all over. It's weird.
Yeah, I got like every week there's a couple of weird short shifts in the day that's like weird trainings and
Will
shit.
they always be like back-to-back shifts? Or will it
I'm
kinda
gonna
be
try.
spread out? Oh, that's fair.
I'm going to try to get them all in a row so that I get like 4 or 5 or 6 days off in a row.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Other than work, what have you been up to this week? What's new? Anything? Nothing? Not a lot? Adjusting to the new sleep schedule?
I mowed the lawn.
Damn, look at you.
I did a little bit of yard work on the sprinklers.
Nice.
That faucet thing in the back isn't spraying out water anymore. Now I got it down to a trickle.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll take the trickle. It's not spraying directly on the house anymore.
I mean, it's not soaking inside, so.
Yeah, we're set.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about you?
I have been playing so much of Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh,
Tsushima.
I can't play those games.
Fucking amazing.
I get so frustrated.
No, it's not a Souls-like.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
I've seen people play.
I've played it. It's not a fucking
It's
Souls-like.
more.
You can play it on like Legends mode.
Nah, it's
is
more Souls-like than I like.
Nah, it's closer to like it's closer to like the newer Assassin's Creed fighting style, almost like Arkham City, where it's like you just spam square and triangle and like parry.
That's too much. That's too complex for me.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just too
Nah,
complex.
you're being dramatic. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
It's
The aesthetic is very pretty.
It's the only game that I've spent like hours fucking around in like photo mode because it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Now I do that in Fallout sometimes when there's just something ridiculous or stupid happening.
Dude, it's beautiful. There's so many times when I'm like, holy shit. Like, I don't think I've ever played anything that's just had like my jaw hit the floor with how like beautiful it looks. It's a work of art, that's for sure.
Well, you didn't play the Star Wars game on Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, where you play Luke going across Tatooine, but there are also like those weird, I don't remember what they're called, the big monster pits. I can't remember.
Yeah, gorgeous views. Yeah,
gorgeous left-right movement.
But yeah, if you get the chance to play it, I certainly recommend it. It's amazing, and the story's been really impressive too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not like one of those Ubisoft slogs where it's like go to all these camps and do the same fucking thing over and over and over. That's nice.
That's nice.
It's been a nice change of pace.
I've been doing a little bit of Rust, but I suck at it.
No?
and then a little bit of Tarkov. Been playing it with my wife.
Nice.
She's into it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to get Abby into it. Just plain and simple. It wouldn't happen.
I don't know. I didn't think I could get Katie into it.
Yeah. I mean, she's got more patience when it comes to video games.
No, that's not what it's
Abby
been.
does.
She does get very frustrated when she gets one tapped, but
Oh, well, yeah.
it's like she explained it like in Call of Duty it's very instant gratification, very quick.
Oh,
You get all
yeah.
the kills, you feel great,
No,
you
it's-
ride the high. But Tarkov is there's so much stress about
It's
just
just
getting
tense.
one shot. It's so tense that when you do get a kill,
Yeah.
which she's dropping motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And when you do get a kill, it's like a whole game of COD.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
It's-
fuck yeah.
It's a different beast. I've tried playing any tactical shooter with her, and she doesn't do the slow.
Have her smoke up. If we're all for it in a match, just give it a shot. Let's give it a shot.
I mean,
I
we'll
say
see.
let's try.
I truly
we
don't
say
think she would be
2
into it.
rounds. She has to sit in for 2 rounds.
We'll
and she
see.
can leave. Well, I'll make a deal with her.
Oh,
Like I'll buy
yeah.
you an ounce of weed if you play Tarkov for 4 rounds or something.
Jesus. Yeah, like I said, we'll see. I
could convince her.
with how bad how much we had to edit Project Zomboid. I don't think that
Nah, it just
Tarkov
takes
would be a
time.
better one.
Also, Project Zomboid is more difficult than Tarkov. There's not even good gunplay in it.
Yeah.
At least in Tarkov, you're like aiming, just checking, shooting people.
Yeah, we won't debate it. We won't
Alright,
sit here and
alright.
waste everybody's time on that. But yeah. So
it's been fun.
It's been a good week.
Good.
Yeah, nice. It's getting fucking hot though.
Yeah.
Getting spicy at night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what do you have for me?
Oh, yeah, it's my episode, huh?
Yeah, I hope so.
So, I'm talking about good old Theodore.
Which one?
Wanda and Theodore Kaczynski were Polish Americans. I think they're second generation. And they're very working class. You know, they get married in April of 1939. Theodore is a sausage maker.
Hell yeah! What a fucking trade, though.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It takes an impressive sleight of hand to make sausages.
Yeah, case it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not as easy as everyone thinks. I haven't done it. I've seen it.
yeah.
Everyone thinks they'll be good at making sausages until you
They
start making
always
sausages.
turn out bad. Yep. At least the first couple. So yeah, they get married. They're very focused on coming from like they're like second gen
Okay.
immigrants. So or first gen, I don't know. Their parents were probably from out of this country. So they're born in I don't know what so they're active in like the strip below Michigan
Oh, okay.
in the US.
So like the Ohio, Illinois.
Yeah, stuff like that.
area.
I think they're from Illinois or they lived there at some point. So, they're married and they decide we're working. We technically both dropped out of high school, but let's have some kids. Classic.
The American dream in
Yep.
the 30s.
So Theodore Jr. was born May 22nd, 1942.
Okay.
I also have no idea if he ever went by Teddy, but
Is
I'm
he still
calling him
alive?
Teddy.
Theodore II?
Theodore Jr.
Yeah.
died very recently.
Oh, okay.
Very recently, actually. Interestingly. I mean, I thought he was still alive. Yeah,
But it
so
was like 2 days ago kind
it
of
was
shit.
like within a year,
Damn.
which is crazy. So he was born in May 22nd, 1942. And then they had another kid in 1949, and they just went with David for his name. Classic David.
I have my grandpa called me David. He thought that I was my uncle because I looked like him when he was growing up, and so he'd always be like,
And then he got
David,
dementia? Or...
David, get over here. No, I mean, he was old as shit.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Probably.
But yeah, David on both sides of the family, too. Two Uncle
And
Daves.
this is technically a World War II episode because he was born during World War II.
It's a stretch.
Theodore Jr. And they were Polish.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Never mind. Not a stretch.
Not a stretch. So, despite the parents, dropping out of school very young to work and then get married, They actually both pursued night classes and got their high school diplomas, and they would go on to get college degrees too, the parents. So I just thought that was interesting to point out. Like, they obviously very much had an emphasis on bettering yourself and getting a further education and stuff like that. And that was really passed on to the kids. They were both extremely devoted to school and schoolwork and homework and learning, and they were really passionate about learning, both of them.
Nerds.
Yeah, pretty nerdy. But when it was time for Teddy to get into like junior high, middle school stuff, they'd moved in 1952. And he should have gone at that new place into 6th grade.
Little Teddy Jr.
Yeah, Teddy Jr. He should have gone into 6th grade, but the school, when he moved, gave him an IQ test. And he scored a 167.
Okay.
That's really good. If you don't know, I mean, IQ tests obviously.
It's like, aren't
that's
they?
really good.
They're kind of
They're
disputable because
it's not actual real world education. Like,
yeah.
but it's
a good way to gauge it.
It's a good gauge of cognitive
Yeah.
behavior and cognitive development.
167.
167. So really good. Like basically genius level. But you know how that gets. Go to the r/I am very smart and you'll see all the idiots with a high IQ.
Yeah, all the young Sheldons on there.
Yeah. So he actually skipped 6th grade and went right into middle school. He later on in his life, he reflected that this was, while ultimately a good thing for his education, socially it kind of fucked him up. Because all of a sudden he wasn't with his peers. He wasn't seen as the smart one in the class. He wasn't seen as like a leader almost in the groups that he was in. All of a sudden now he's just getting bullied by older kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're smart. You skip school. You're young. You know, kids are awful.
Well, I mean, I feel like so much of that too goes to kids that are just jealous. Like,
well, yeah,
they're like,
100%.
oh, this little piece of shit skipped
a
5th
grade.
Like,
I've repeated
damn,
7th grade
yeah,
6 times.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
fucking kids, man.
Yeah, so it kind of had an impact in his social development. Teddy Jr. was definitely the smarter kid compared to David, but David was still exceptionally bright. I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
What's the last name?
Kaczynski. I'll look it up later. Don't look it up.
I'm looking at it.
Don't look it up. Spoilers for the story. Don't look it up. Listen to me. You're not even typing anything. Put your fucking phone down.
I'm just typing David Kaczynski death.
No, don't. He's
It
alive.
didn't pull anything up.
Good.
It didn't autofill it, so
Oh, thank goodness.
He's still
You
alive.
probably spelled Kaczynski wrong. It's spelled really weird.
probably.
So
Let me find out how to spell it.
Yeah, look up how to spell. No. So David was definitely more socially smart than Teddy Jr.
Yeah. It's always the second kid that gets it.
That kind of figures that shit out.
Yeah.
So Teddy Jr. enters high school, and actually he kind of improves. He picks up playing the trombone, and he joins all these different clubs. He joins German club, coin club, math club.
Fucking loser.
He's kind of a loser, but at least he's socializing. I think that's important. So,
No, I mean, in the fucking 50s, Coin Club was the shit.
oh,
I'm
dude,
sure.
I would be in coin club if I could. I have coin collections.
Oh,
so
that doesn't really help.
that means
doesn't
it's
help
really
Coin
cool.
Club's case.
Yeah, it does. I'm
If
cool.
you're a part of it.
Hey, I'm cool as fuck.
Okay. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, I'm so cool. So he, in high school, he discovers his passion.
Coins.
Coins. No, math. He's,
Better.
yeah, okay.
So much better.
All right, kid.
Fucking
So
David.
he's like, no,
Oh, this
Teddy.
one's Teddy.
This
Jesus
is Teddy.
Christ.
So Teddy Jr., he loves math so much that for hours outside of school, he'll like look up complex math problems and try to solve them and study and read textbooks and shit.
You know, we fucked it up. The episode title should have been Big Bang Teddy.
Yeah, it should have. We
If
messed
I had
up.
known he was a young prodigy,
I didn't even think about mentioning that.
young Sheldon Teddy.
Fuck. Why young Sheldon was accurate.
It always comes back to young Sheldon.
It always. So yeah, he's kind of socializing. He's finding peers, which is awesome, And oh god, he really isn't cool. He gets included into like a social group.
What do you mean he's not cool? He's in Coin Club.
Well, he gets included in a
He's
group
so cool.
that was called the Briefcase Boys.
Oh.
It wasn't a formal club, but it was basically the smart kids would walk around high school with a briefcase.
Oh,
and he started doing it. So,
all right,
and
Teddy,
it was
I see
mostly
you.
it was
Cool
mostly
kid.
the kids who were really into math and sciences.
Oh, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, right.
That one caught me. That definitely caught me off guard.
1950s briefcase boys. So yeah, it's so fucking nerdy.
Jesus Christ.
I love it. So yeah, he starts getting placed in like harder and harder and more advanced math classes to the point where they'll put him in a new class, and sometimes within the same semester, he'll be able to ace the final test. So they'll just take him out of class, put him in the next one. Like he is a prodigy. He is a genius when it comes to math.
There was a kid I went to high school with that he took I know they don't do the ACT outside. A few states do it, but Utah does the ACT. Mm-hmm. And this kid got a 32, which is considered a perfect score. You don't have to get 100% to get a 32 on it. A 32 or a 36, I don't know.
I was I think it's a 32 because I think I got a 36.
Oh, yeah.
I did not do well. I didn't study. I didn't give a shit about it.
Why would you get a 36 if a 32 is a perfect score?
Because 36 is worse.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
I got a 17.
Oh, hold on.
It's like 32 out of 32, 36. It's one of the...
Oh, I thought it was... What am I thinking of?
SAT.
SAT is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, which most other states do the SAT. This kid did the ACT because a lot of people do in Utah. He got a perfect score.
I don't know what I got.
But the way that they do it is like you can still miss so many questions to get a perfect score on it. And he missed one. So he took it again to get 100% on it.
I
hate
kids like
he
that.
Was a fucking,
like, you're already smart. Shut the fuck up.
We
you don't need that.
We were all in class one time.
It's not going to help you in college.
He made a comment, something about like comparing it to like The Simpsons, one of the things, and everyone in class was like, "Wait, you watched The Simpsons?" And he was like, "Yeah." And we were all like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like,
you think he's just doing math all the time
hell?
or something?
Yeah, like it. Most definitely.
It humanized him for a moment.
Yeah.
And then the bullying began.
For a second.
Yeah.
Now, one of the few kids that was like incredibly smart that everyone was like, don't fuck with him. Leave him alone. Just let him be smart. Yeah.
See, I was one of those smart children. And then the bullying, actually, weirdly enough, yes.
I was a young prodigy once.
I was not a prodigy. I was not near that level. And then junior high started, and the bullying started, and the nihilism actually started really bad. I think I was depressed. I don't know.
I mean, I was in fucking advanced math classes and shit in elementary school, and then
I was doing all this.
I got out and was like, whoa, never mind.
I was reading like textbooks and shit. And then I was like, none of this matters. Nothing matters in life.
Yeah.
I really got like depressed and nihilistic, and then I did the bare minimum to graduate because I realized having good grades in junior high and high school do literally nothing for the rest of your life. That's just a lie your parents tell you. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, unless you're a prodigy, you're not getting college offers.
It hasn't affected me yet. So.
Yeah. I've got a degree. I'm doing shit.
It hasn't affected me yet. Look how successful I am,
Hell
kid.
Yeah. We've got
if you want to grow
podcast.
up and be as cool as me.
If you'd like to get a top 10,000 podcast, that's actually a really big deal.
If you want to be in a top 1 million podcast.
Yeah. No, I think we're actually...
High school grades don't fucking matter, kiddo.
I think we're top 500 now from U.S. and the world.
Something like that.
Yeah, we're top 500
in history.
In history.
In the history.
Technically, yes. We are top 500 in history and top 500 in comedy in the U.S., which is weird.
And there are 501 entrants.
Yeah. No,
there are 501 podcasts.
Yeah, total.
So if you want to be as cool as us, kid.
Yeah. So he's obviously real smart.
Yeah, fits in well.
He skips 11th grade.
One of the briefcase boys. Skips 11th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He He graduates high school at the age of 15 and applies to Harvard.
The Good Doctor. That's the Autism Doctor show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he graduate high school at 15 and go to Harvard?
I don't know, but he's a good doctor. Is he young? It's some like young prodigy. I am a surgeon. That shit.
Yeah.
And he went to UC Berkeley?
No, Harvard.
Oh, Harvard.
He goes to Harvard at the age of 15.
Boo, what a loser.
So he's 15 years old. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a psychologist.
I gotta stop you. There's this thing that I saw that was like, from now until the end of time, anytime I go to like parties or whatever, and I meet someone that's like, oh, I went to Yale, I went to Harvard. They went to like any, like
Of those fancy.
of those Ivy League schools. They were like, I'm just gonna ask them like, oh, is that like a community college? And just act like they don't know what it is. Like, oh, I went to Brown, and it's like,
Oh, yeah, I heard
okay,
about that
yeah,
community
yeah.
college.
Yeah,
Did they just get their national accreditation?
exactly.
Something like that.
That's like an online one, like Western Governors, right?
Yeah,
Brown
yeah.
University. I think I've heard about it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
they do
that's-
like UPS certification directly,
Yeah.
right?
Aren't they related? Aren't they like a branch of Arizona State Global?
That's what ITT Tech turned into, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Definitely. That's.
Yeah,
I mean,
I-
I never go to parties, but I'm
No,
gonna
I
keep
mean,
that in mind.
If I ever meet anybody that's like that, that's just the go-to.
That's the go-to for me.
If you
on out.
introduce yourself on where you went to college, fuck you.
Yeah. Or I think we should buy matching Harvard sweaters.
You should get a Harvard one. I'll get a Yale one.
There we go. And then we'll take like a Sears level family photo of just you and I and put that on for the podcast.
We'll get we'll get shirts to say I'm a part of the MIT Breakfast Club, which was the one that got irradiated by MIT.
Yes, that's
Find
Okay.
that shirt on our store.
Design that, please.
You'll find the MIT Breakfast Club shirt.
that's actually amazing. Okay, that's your homework
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the next week. Get that shit on there. I'm gonna buy that. That's amazing. Holy shit! I want that sweater so bad.
That's
Oh
fucked.
my god, that's amazing. So, where was I? I just accidentally scrolled.
So he went to Harvard.
Yep. And obviously, you're 15 years old, you're going to Harvard. You're going to be a social outcast. He's already got weird socialization problems. So, he's like kind of socially fucked. He's not ready for it. He is just not mentally ready to go to Harvard. So it takes him a little bit of time, but I mean, he does the homework. He goes to school. And he's instantly identified as a math prodigy. Socially, though, he is struggling. And he starts to pursue a degree in math. Oh! But who would have guessed? No, but the coolest thing about his Harvard time, I think, is that he came across one of those, like, this is just the perfect time period for paid studies at colleges. Because, you know, there's a lot of very ethically gray studies going on at this time period. So he comes across Harvard psychologist Henry Murray, which we've actually talked about before on previous episodes. I'll tell you when later. So he led this study where students would write an essay on their personal beliefs, their goals, their aspirations, the most important things to them. Then he would give the essay to another student and tell that student to read it, and then once a week during the study session, confront the person who wrote it and attack them, abuse them, belittle them, use that information you learned from the study to just treat them like shit, just to attack them. Because the idea is, and when they're being yelled at, they have like electrodes and it's being filmed. So it's like, let's see what happens when your, most important values are confronted and picked apart and argued against and things like that.
Okay.
This is very obvious. No one would do this study
Completely
now.
ethical.
This is
very
completely
ethical
unethical for, because obviously these people are just being treated like shit week after week,
You're
and
just
they're getting paid,
you're
but it's not.
literally torturing these people
Yeah.
every week.
Because then they would also show them clips of them like getting really mad and upset, they would like play it over and over and over again to them, which is another form of torture where you're just like, it's basically invalidating those feelings of, hey, I'm upset because you're belittling me on my core beliefs, and you're Ben Shapiro arguing me, debating me, and then they're just, it's a horrible study. So this would happen every week, and the study lasted for 3 years. And Teddy was in it for 3 years.
Holy
week
shit.
After week.
God damn, dude.
He says, later in his life, he said, oh, no, this probably didn't affect me deeply. I'm pretty sure this affected him fairly deeply, because I don't know who could be absolutely abused and belittled every week for 3 years and not have some kind of traumatic response to that.
God damn.
So weirdly enough, Murray, the guy who's the Harvard psychologist, during World War II, boom, it is a World War II episode, he worked with the OSS. He maintained those connections after the war, even though he came back to Harvard as a psychologist, with a lot of the people in the OSS who ended up working for the CIA, because the OSS eventually turned into the CIA. Yeah. And there are some sources out there that support the idea that this study was part of MKUltra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was part of the mind control shit.
Good God.
So that's great. Also, Murray, interestingly enough, did a psychological profile of Adolf Hitler.
Uh-huh.
And he said Hitler was probably impotent, would kill himself if he's facing defeat, and was, like, maybe kind of gay. Which, at least the first two, spot on.
Yeah.
The third one, it was just, like, in the gay scene in Germany, apparently a lot of people would call, like, their partner Bubi, B-U-B-I.
Uh-huh.
And apparently
Bubi.
Hitler called a high-ranking Nazi official
Is the Bubi?
that name as, like, a pet name kind of thing early days. And a decent amount of very early high-ranking Nazis were gay.
But do we have any accounts of Hitler pissing on his nephew?
Just his niece. And her pissing on him. Right? Interesting.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. I just thought that was really interesting, the connection to MKUltra.
Yeah. So all those guys wearing all the guys in 2024 that are wearing those Nazi armbands, waving Nazi flags.
That's pride.
Yeah, they're
not
fighting.
pride for Nazis.
Yeah, they're fighting for those gay rights.
Yeah, they're fighting for gay.
Yeah, that's what Hitler would have wanted.
Yeah, 100%. Oh God. Okay, can we get a shirt that says it's what Hitler would have wanted? Probably not.
No.
Jesus Christ. Holy shit. That's...
Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right. So, I call this next section the Math Man arc. He gets his bachelor's degree in mathematics.
Sorry to cut you off. Anytime I hear Math Man, I think of Scat Man.
Exactly. That's why I wrote it like this. Scat Man.
He's a Scat Man.
So 1952, he gets his bachelor in math from Harvard. That's a pretty big deal.
Nerd.
He doesn't do much for the next 10 years.
Okay.
Nothing that I could really find out.
It's hard to get a really good job from a
bachelor in math.
Community
from the
college
community
degree.
college, Harvard, yeah. So he does continue like other classes, and he is still going to school. He's working. But between 1962 and 1967, he gets his master's and his doctorate degree in mathematics at the University of Michigan.
Jesus.
He wanted to go to UC Berkeley or any of the University of California.
Wouldn't have fit in.
Whoop. But I took out this
Do it
microphone.
quietly. Oh, fucking idiot.
No. So he wanted to go to like a California university, but none of them offered him teaching positions or a grant. Because a lot of times if you've got your bachelor but you're going into master's and doctorate, you'll be able to teach the lower level classes on that subject, and they'll pay you a small amount.
Yeah. It's because he put the shock therapy on his resume when he would apply for it. And they're
yeah.
like, oh, we're good. Nah, we're fine.
Nah, we don't fuck around with that MK Ultra bullshit.
I'm going to be honest. The entire country has moved away from that style of experimentation, buddy.
Yeah, so he goes to University of Michigan because they did offer him a teaching position and a grant that to nowadays it's equivalent to about $20,000 a year. Not bad for a college kid. In this position, it did get picked up. That cough. So he reflected on this time period, 1962 to 1967, basically saying, University of Michigan's shit. They were really lax on their grading.
What a bitch.
They were like, they did not grade me hard enough that I actually really learned much.
Too easy.
Kinda, yeah. He's kind of a bitch. And then something happened before he fully graduated, the year before he graduated, and for a couple of weeks, it only lasted a couple of weeks, but he viewed it as a major turning point in his life.
Lost his virginity.
In 1966, he started having extreme sexual fantasies of being a woman.
Oh, okay.
So
I was like, oh, I'm on the right path. No.
So he didn't feel like he was a woman stuck in a man's body or a woman who was born a man. He was just like, man, if I was a lady, I would come so hard.
Damn.
So it's kind of not super healthy.
Okay, man. Great
But
job.
the fantasy was so strong that he actually scheduled an appointment with a psychiatrist.
Okay. I was like, I turned so fast. I turned away from the mic to clear my throat, and I heard, and he scheduled, and I like whipped my head. Whoa!
He scheduled an appointment to go to a psychiatrist to begin transitioning.
Oh boy!
And he's in the waiting room.
Uh-oh.
And right before the doctor calls him back, he says, "What the fuck am I doing? This is like a sex thing. I don't actually want this."
Yeah, that
like he should have jerked off.
Yeah.
I don't think he's jerking off.
Yeah, homeboy needed just a little bit of post-nut clarity.
Yeah,
just a tinge of it.
He goes in, lies to the psychiatrist about why he's there, comes up with some bullshit reason for him to be there, and walks out. But he's so like, he hates himself because he's like, I almost changed my entire life because of a sexual craving. And he was so upset that he wanted to murder the psychiatrist. He was like, I'm going to fucking murder everyone I don't like. Something's going on in his brain.
Yeah, so if anybody out there is struggling with your sexual identity, if you make a decision that you don't like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can always change it. That's the nice thing about it, is it's a fluid situation.
Exactly.
It has its ebbs and flows, but in no instance is it ever someone else's fault. And never in any case do they deserve to be fucking murdered because you wanted to get a sex change. Like, let's just
it's okay if you're exploring
here,
and it's okay if you're like, yes, you're
God,
either way,
dude.
like no matter what's happening. Yeah, there's a fluidity in these situations sometimes. That's okay.
I'm curious. Do you think that a lot of it was like, I don't want to say denial or anything, but do you think that he hated those thoughts so much, and he was like, the only other person that knows that I had these thoughts was the person that was about to start that? Like
the psychiatrist didn't even know why he was there.
Had
that's
no
idea.
That's right. Okay.
So he wanted to kill this guy for no reason that I can find.
Okay.
And I don't think he was trans. There's no other evidence of that. He's never come out and said anything about that. I really think it was some weird sex thing.
Just had some weird little a week of kink.
Yeah. I think his balls were full. And
his
when that
brain
happens,
was offset.
You start losing, the balls get full and get bigger, and they start taking away the cognitive function.
Not
the brain.
To say that anyone who is trans lacks cognitive function.
No.
But
that's
this
not what
dude
I'm saying.
Clearly has some fucking issues.
This guy,
that need
clearly
to be
has some
worked
problems.
Out. Holy shit! So, is that what he started focusing on and fantasizing? Was murdering the psychiatrist?
A little bit, but only for like a week. And he basically is like, Let me see. He's basically, as a turning point, before he views himself as this nihilistic, depressed person with all this weird shit going on. And then after, he kind of snaps out of whatever is going on, and he's like, no, I'm better. Like, it almost cures his depression. Almost. Not really. That's how he felt. Like, there's obviously some chemical imbalances going on. And after this, he finishes his degree. He moves to California.
The thing that sucks is if he sat down with the psychiatrist, he probably could have gotten some actual help.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure the psychiatrist wouldn't have been like, oh, yeah, like, here's fucking HRT, kid.
No,
They would have been like, okay, like, we're going to start you off with
this is a sexual thing.
First.
We're going to start you off on some SSRIs or something. Like, no,
it's
he probably
fucked.
would have gotten help if he had explained the situation, even if he had just said, like, okay, now I don't want to.
Yeah.
I had this thought. I think it's sex-related, and now I don't. That would have started a much better conversation. That the whole story would have turned out differently.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So, yeah, he moves to California, and he starts teaching at UC Berkeley, the youngest assistant professor at the university ever. 25 years old.
Damn.
With a doctorate degree in math.
Goodness.
What a nerd. But it kind of turns out he's a bad teacher.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, his teaching evaluations show that he taught out of the book. He would avoid answering questions.
All of the chairs in the room are connected to an outlet.
Yeah. He was scanning brainwaves. It was really weird. And he was just kind of dry, nervous, and boring. It was kind of a bad teacher. And out of nowhere, 2 years later, 2 years of teaching about, he just resigns completely out of nowhere.
Oh.
And some of the staff from this, he was on the way to being tenure, like fully, which is crazy,
fast.
super fast. And then, he just resigns, and a lot of people were like, we would try to, like, bring him into, all the professors are going to go have a drink or go hang out, go bowling or something. I don't know. I don't know what teachers do. I think they sleep at the school.
Hey, we're going to go abuse a bunch of students.
Yeah, and he would never join them for anything social.
That's so weird.
So, we now know that basically by the end of the 60s, the entire field of math that he was specialized in was solved. Like, they had completely proven the theorems. Like, it was done.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't really
His
have
passionate
anywhere else to go.
I mean, there were plenty of places that he could have transitioned to.
Yeah.
In terms of math, and he just I don't know why, but he just up and quit. He's done. May have been related to that, but we're not really sure. So he moved back in with his parents.
Nice.
Doing that late 20s, move back in. So many people do that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Hey, I mean, it works.
Sometimes you need a couple months
Helps you get
to
on
save
your
up a
feet.
deposit
Yeah.
for expensive housing. So he lives with his parents for 2 years before buying a small cabin in Montana. And he, basically, when he lives with his parents, I'm pretty sure he works with his dad, who has I think it's a foam factory now, which is pretty similar to sausage making.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, very industrious. But, like, they're doing pretty well because they own a factory.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing pretty good. So,
And, I mean, what year is this? 70s?
yeah, 1971 to 2.
And foam is coming up.
Foam is coming up, actually.
Foam is making a come up, bro.
Invest in foam. Go back in time.
Big foam is on its way.
Big foam is forming. It's foaming at the mouth. Big foam is foaming.
Yeah.
Everything is foam. Foam.
Jesus.
So, yeah, he buys a small cabin in Montana, gets there, there's no power or water in it. He's
Great.
okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the 70s.
I really feel like he's having a third life crisis, a 1/3 life crisis. Because he leaves everything he knows and goes to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And it deals with the social anxiety that he probably had and all the social processing issues that he likely had. And so he's just completely isolated in this little cabin. And he would, every once in a while...
this is good.
Yeah, super great. He would work...
This is going to end well.
He works odd jobs every
And
once in a while in
his
town.
life ended there. completely inconsequential. The
Yeah.
end.
No, he
That's why we talk about him on Pressure Points, is because nothing
happens from here.
happened to
He
this
lives
guy.
there for 60 years and dies in his sleep.
Yep, died alone. They found his body, and we found his eulogy, and that was
Yep.
his fucking obituary, and that was it.
His parents sometimes send him money. Every once in a while, he would go back to his family's place for a couple of months and just like work in the foam factory, save up some money, and then go back.
Make enough to
sustain
have
yourself for a
food
couple
the
months.
next couple months.
Well, his whole focus was he wanted to live fully self-sufficiently.
Yeah.
So he starts learning like trapping and hunting and gathering and bushcrafting and all this shit. If he had a YouTube channel, he would have been a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know? But so he only had a bike. He would ride into town, he would volunteer at the library, and he would check out just tons of books, and he would be just reading all the time because he still had that hunger for knowledge. And honestly, it kind of seems like a nice life. That kind of self-sufficient. I mean, I would want power, electricity, and internet. Or I said power and electricity, power and water and internet. But like, it seems peaceful. Especially Montana. There's some beautiful parts of Montana.
Montana's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. I went to Glacier once, Glacier National Park up there.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, Montana fucking rules.
Besides the religious fundamentalism, everything else is awesome.
Yeah, but I mean,
Idaho's right there, and we're in
religious
Utah.
fundamentalism here anyway.
But, it was a nice life until 1975.
Okay.
Some construction developments began a little too close to his cabin.
Uh-oh.
So while he didn't own the land,
So he bought a
around
bulldozer, fucking slapped some cement and steel plating on there, and fucking just drove
he did a
over all of it.
killdozer.
Yeah.
now he did start to sabotage machinery.
Yeah.
And then he would put like booby traps at the construction sites, like pits, like
Jesus,
hidden
bro.
pits. I like to imagine that he had like a crossbow set up to like hit the construction worker.
Just puts like bear traps out there.
Yeah, shit like that. He starts doing booby traps and stuff.
Damn.
And his interests, his library books, really start to turn to sociology and politics.
He is a library history, really.
Yes. So by 1983, he's been fighting these developments for 8 years, about.
Mm-hmm. That's a long time to be fucking building, though.
I mean, they were getting booby trapped the whole time.
yeah, true.
And, these are big developments.
Yeah.
He's like, there are too many people around my cabin. I just need to get away from it all, which is why I bought the cabin in the first place.
Going to Oklahoma.
Well, he just decided to hike to his favorite spot. It was a 2-day hike, and he said there was a waterfall. It was pretty hilly, and then there were just like deep ravines in the ground, and it was just beautiful. So he hikes for 2 days. He gets there, and he discovers that they put a road right down the middle of it.
Jesus.
And he's not happy.
I don't blame him. That sucks.
Yeah. So he fully decides right then and there, I'm going to stop pursuing self-sufficiency. I'm going to stop pursuing survival.
And I'm going to start making bombs.
And I'm going to fight back and get revenge for the destruction of nature.
You tell him, Teddy.
So from 1978 through 1995, he started a bombing campaign.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that Teddy Roosevelt in him.
Hell yeah.
Fighting for the national parks.
Fighting. The first bomb he sent out through the mail, most of them were through the mail, targeted a materials engineering professor at Northwestern University. Minor injuries. Second bomb, it was left on a table hidden in a cigar box at the same college. He just waited for a grad student to just open it. It blew up, but it's only a second bomb. Minor injuries.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, he just...
it's only his second bomb.
Yeah,
God,
he hasn't...
cut him
he
some
hasn't,
fucking slack.
Exactly. He hasn't refined the, engineering of it yet. During this time period, he also gets fired by his brother from the foam factory, the family foam factory.
Oh.
Because he started writing insulting limericks about a female supervisor that he wanted to date and she barely knew existed. So he gets fired.
Jesus Christ.
In 1979, he puts a bomb in the cargo hold of a Boeing 727. But,
Great.
he was still a rookie. It had a barometer trigger, so it would trigger based on the air pressure. So when they go up, it would blow up. It just burnt some mail, and put some smoke out, so they just emergency landed.
Yeah.
Which
on top of a bomb that he placed.
Which was really good because if the bomb had gone off, it would have destroyed the entire plane, killed everybody. And he even remarked later that he was so glad the bomb failed because he didn't want to target people indiscriminately. He really wanted to have specific targets that made sense for what he was trying to achieve.
Okay.
So he was like, I'm so glad that bomb didn't blow up. I don't want to be like the Oklahoma City bomber who just bombed a ton of people.
Yeah.
I want to bomb the specific people who are perpetrating the crimes that I've identified.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt innocent people. I want to hurt partially innocent people that I find guilty.
So the next bomb targeted the president of United Airlines, who received some pretty major burns. And then, interestingly, he started leaving like fake clues in his bombs.
Well, yeah.
Like he would stamp them with FC inside on parts that wouldn't be completely destroyed for Freedom Club, which was just a fake thing he made up.
Put in BB. Briefcase boys.
Briefcase boys. And he would also add like bits of bark and wood from the trees around him into the bombs. I don't know why. It's kind of symbolic, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those weird things that's like it's my mark. Like it's I don't know I can't think of all the details on that shit right now, but like it's definitely
that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
He would also do like
it's my signature move.
He designed a bomb specifically made to not go off and put like a letter in there that was like
a little false
WU. See, I knew it would work from whatever the fake initials. Just like to just to throw people off.
Yeah.
And the FBI, obviously investigating since the first bomb, they start noting, there are some strong themes of nature and trees. Like he sends a bomb in, I forgot the name of the book, but it's a book about nature.
Uh-huh.
And it blows up, and they're like, there are themes of trees and nature. The FBI is really firing on all cylinders here. 1981, a bomb was placed with the return address of a professor at Brigham Young University. It was found at the University of Utah, and the bomb squad was called, and they actually defused it.
Oh.
So it's local.
What year was that?
1981.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A secretary to a professor at Vanderbilt University was injured after peeking in the mail of her boss. Kind of got called out on that one.
Yeah, uh-oh.
2 bombs injured people severely at UC Berkeley. People that he definitely knew.
Yeah, probably worked with.
A bomb was sent to Boeing. It was defused. A professor and assistant were injured in another bombing somewhere on the West Coast. In 1985, a nail bomb was left in the parking lot of a computer store in Sacramento. So now it's like, before he's like he's targeting like professors, engineers, people who are contributing to the rise of technology. Now he's just like, that guy owns a computer store. He's also bad.
Yeah, but I mean, you also got to realize like he's been doing this, 4 years now?
Almost 10?
Oh, 10.
Almost.
Sorry.
Almost
God,
10.
I got mixed up. I was still thinking 1981. Because when did he start? What was this?
78, technically.
Yeah. I was like,
he started boobing trapping in 75.
Like, you got to realize he's a shell of like the fucking really smart fucking troubled genius that he was. Now it's just he's isolated and he has one goal, so he's just bound to keep slipping further.
He's in a
further.
full echo chamber of himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's not like I mean, if any of you listening actually think that somebody that's been sending bombs to people for 10 years is, has it together, like, get some help.
We'll talk about that later, but I think, it might have to do with the fact that he was so believing that his campaign of bombing, people would catch on to why he was bombing these people.
Yeah.
But people weren't connecting it.
Well, I mean,
They weren't like it's professor from this place. Like it was always reported as just like professor from UC Berkeley bombed.
well, because it's
or something like that.
probably just reported fucking local news. It's not this. I mean, yeah,
It
people are
gets
getting
there.
bombed, and it gets to national news. I mean,
Eventually.
if you fucking know who he is, you know. But like at that point, it's probably local news. Like in Utah itself, I'm sure that they're like, oh my God, they had to defuse a bomb at Utah State, and they're not like also linked to the Boeing bombs. Like it's just.
Exactly.
They don't have this national, huge 24-hour stream of news that's kicking out every fucking bad thing in their face. It's the 80s.
Yeah. So that nail bomb kills the owner.
Oh.
First confirmed kill.
Oh, shit.
Not a great KD.
Got a taste of blood.
In 1987, a bomb disguised as a piece of lumber was left in a parking lot at a computer store in Salt Lake City. It went off. It severed the nerves in the left arm of Gary Wright and filled him with 200 pieces of shrapnel, but he did survive.
What year was that?
87.
Yeah, so it's like 6 years after the fucking U of U one.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to fucking link those.
Connecting these, but he really believed, these bombings are going to institute change and cause a revolution.
Yeah, he's a fucking narcissist.
A little bit, yeah. So he was actually seen planting this bomb. First time he was actually seen,
okay.
which leads to the most famous police sketch of the Unabomber that you know about, that you see. I'm sure anybody who's seen it can think of it right now. He's wearing aviator sunglasses, has a mustache, has the hood on. The most famous photo pre-arrest comes from this event.
Sketch, that's the word.
Sketch. There we go, police sketch. I'm sure you'd recognize it if you're into any of this stuff.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one.
I pulled up the
Send
one of the
send that to the manager.
I pulled up the one of the leprechaun.
I love that. That's so good. But yeah, after that bombing, he took a nice 6 years off.
You know, eat, pray, love, and take it easy, clear his mind.
He got a confirmed kill, and then he got seen doing one. So he's like, "Oh, I'm getting lazy."
Yeah, he read the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and decided to change his tune.
Yep. Until 1993, which I never thought this continued into the 90s, just because I've never specifically looked into
What's
it.
wild for me is that like so many of these huge events are were going on when I was just too young to fucking know what was going on.
Yeah,
like I'll see stuff like this and I'm like, damn, I didn't realize the fucking Unabomber was going on. I was like 2.
Yeah,
like, this shit's wild.
I want to ask my parents about it. Like, hey, do you remember seeing this in the news?
It's the same thing for like a Columbine, because that was when I was 4, 95. And I want to sit my parents down and be like, hey, how fucked up was that? Like, how
do you remember that? Like, how did that impact
you? Fucked up
you?
were you guys about it with like both of my sisters just starting school? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I want to talk to them
starting
about
a couple
some of these.
years after that. Like, how did you feel about it?
Yeah. So he bombs a geneticist at UC San Francisco who lost fingers and most of his hearing on one side in 1993, which now he's targeting geneticists because he thinks that technology,
it's just
to like the genetic modification is part of
at this point
technology.
It's just like, oh, they work around machines.
Or yeah,
come
pretty much.
on, bro.
So this was a busy weekend for him.
Like in all honesty, if you're gonna fucking target something, blow up BP.
Yeah. Exxon.
Like, idiot.
Blow up Exxon.
Yeah, you could have made a difference.
Honestly, yeah.
You could have saved the Gulf.
Yeah. So in the same weekend, he bombed a computer science professor at Yale University.
Oh, God. I'd hate for code to ruin the environment.
Yeah. He blows off most of his hand.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He gets blinded in one eye and deafened in one ear.
Ooh.
Pretty serious.
Yeah, same, just like the other guy.
Yeah. 1994, he kills a PR exec who was responsible for rehabbing Exxon's image after the Exxon Valdez oil spill.
Okay, this is fair.
This one I see.
Okay, so at this moment, yes, I am a Unabomber advocate and sympathizer, but for a very small window of time.
Hey, you'll like this next one, 1995.
Oh, I know I'll like the next one for you.
He kills the president of a timber industry lobbying group. Fuck yeah.
Whoops.
Ah, dang.
Darn. Be a shame.
Also that year, he starts mailing letters to the media. Kind of, he realizes I've been doing this for almost 20 years and nobody knows what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. So he starts explaining like, oh yeah, I targeted that guy because of his work on rehabbing Exxon. Oh yeah, I targeted this guy because of his lobbying in Congress.
It's such a fucking BTK move.
It's very BTK.
Man, nobody's linked at all. Man, I better reach back out.
Yeah.
Better get back up to murdering.
So do you know how he was caught?
If you talk about it, I'll probably
it'll probably come back.
It.
But you don't know off the top of your head. I was the same way.
I don't know a ton. Like I know about him, but I don't know like all of the shit.
Yeah. So I go into it and then we'll be almost done. So because we've been going for a minute. That's all right though. So he basically says, he reaches out to a bunch of media outlets and says, publish my manifesto, I'll stop bombing people.
Great.
And the FBI was kind of like, tell us about your manifesto. It's 35,000 words,
oh my God.
And it's called Industrial Society and Its Future.
Okay.
Honestly, you should probably read it. It's pretty interesting. Besides the bombing, kind of on board with his motivations. I'm on board with his motivations. I'm not on board on how he handled it.
Yeah.
The Attorney General and the FBI director suggested, hey, somebody just publish it. Because what if he does just stop bombing? Okay. So, the very illustrious Penthouse magazine says, we'll publish it. And
I think I remember a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Penthouse
was like, yeah, I'll publish it. And Ted Kaczynski was like, well, you're not very respectable, so if you guys publish it, I'm going to plant one more bomb. And he literally had just one more if you guys do it. And at that point, Washington Post said, okay, we'll publish it. Fine. And it was published September 19th, 1995. He was called the Unabomber. I never knew this. He was called the Unabomber not because he was just a single dude who bombed shit, but the FBI chose Unabomb as his moniker because he bombed universities, airplanes.
I was going to say,
so UN is universities, A for airlines, and then BOM for bomb. That's it.
Oh, I see.
And it was leaked to the media.
I was wondering why it was UNA. I was like, Unibomb. Like that's
Unabomber. It should be Unibomber.
Yeah, that's what I always think of as UNI. Not,
but it's just because they called him the University and Airline Bomber. See, even the FBI was like,
dumb.
Oh, he's just bombing universities and airplanes. They didn't make the connection to the eco-terrorism that he was trying. Like, he really could have done better. I'm going to say that. I'm glad he
was on it.
Glad he didn't get a ton of kills. But
average FBI experience,
honestly. So, in a very short explanation, the manifesto's central argument was the Industrial Revolution initiated a destructive path for humanity, technology development, and its dependence erode human freedom and our connection to nature. Fully on board. That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
He criticized technology for three main ways. Environmental damage, basically saying technological advancements lead to the exploitation and destruction of the natural world. Okay, you are correct. He believed that and wrote that technology empowers a ruling class to manipulate and control people's lives. Yeah, we're seeing that. 100%. That is completely accurate. And then the third way is psychologically. Technology, according to him, fosters feelings of alienation and isolation, which now with the rise and advent of social media, it's kind of true.
Yeah, homie knew a little bit about isolation, though.
Exactly. That's exactly it. He related to it.
Yeah, I mean, because it's silly to say like he had firsthand experience because he did just sit in an echo chamber of his own fucking thoughts.
Yeah, he had a weird amount. I don't think he recognized that.
No, not at all.
That close of a relation, but
But it's like
looking back, it's like, wow, he really hit the nail on the head, and he didn't even know he was going through. He didn't know he was the nail.
Yeah, that isolationism is fucked, man.
Yeah. So, I've got that food.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just having the manager take it out while we're here. So 1 second. Fill the time.
We just hear, and ow. Fuck. Well, there goes dinner.
Do you guys want it sauced?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right.
Yeah. Love that sauce. Yeah, fucking back to the whole parents thing. Unless you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, never mind.
What were you going to say?
No,
Anything quick?
It was just filler.
Okay. So his solution in the manifesto, sorry about that. His solution in the manifesto was a radical societal shift away from technology and a return to simpler, nature-centric life. And he basically said, we need a revolution. And it was just very nonspecific. If you're going to do a revolution, you better have, like, either followers already or a path, like a plan. Because he just said, everybody revolt against technology as a concept. It's like, who chooses, is a water wheel in a river for grinding flour too much technology?
Sounds like a bad 1950s sci-fi movie.
Yeah, where it's just, like, nonspecific. It's like
Fight
the
against technology, and it's a farmer shooting a robot.
yeah, or it's
like
the villain in a lot of early movies are like non-specific. It's like he's going to do bad things.
Yeah. It's an allegory for like a fucking oil rig. It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
So really, his main points in this are pretty accurate, which is why he's considered the internet's favorite terrorist. Because a lot of people relate to these base ideas. They don't relate to him bombing people.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, from my view, I think he was smart enough to see where the advent of technology would lead us. And I'd say, now, since who knows when he specifically wrote the manifesto, but now 30 years later, 40 years later, depending,
So
we're seeing some of that come true, some of his manifesto and what he'd predicted.
So are you saying if you agree with the Green New Deal, you agree with the Unabomber?
I don't know what that is, but yes.
Green New Deal is the it's the huge thing that's with
Isn't it emissions or something?
yeah, it's adjusting emissions, lowering carbon footprints.
How dare they?
It's,
Somehow that infringes on my rights.
Will I say that there are some things that are like a little silly in there? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Are there a few things in there that are completely taken out of context for like clickbait articles and anti-Green New Deal?
obviously.
Yeah, but like ultimately
In general,
it's
a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of it is like it's a huge agreement that goes between multiple different countries to make sure that this country or the world isn't fucking melted by 2050.
Yeah.
Like it really is just like a big deal that's like, hey,
Let's all work
we were
towards
wrong about global warming. Like
Cool. I'll take it.
yeah, but my freedoms.
My freedom
But
somehow.
I have every right to allow a corporation to have a carbon footprint.
That's really what it
that
is.
triples their output. Like, come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like he felt like it was a desperate enough situation that this is the only way he would be able to get people to listen. Because, he's not the first person to point out that, hey, some of this is really bad and we're kind of destroying the planet. Like the thoughts and theories about global warming span back to the 1800s, if not further, if I'm not aware of them. But yeah, I see, I don't agree with bombing people, but I see why he viewed this as a desperate enough situation, especially when taken into account the literal echo chamber of a one-room cabin.
Yeah, after he's seen multiple instances of technology and
Directly destroying nature around
human
him.
growth, destroying the things that he loved specifically.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I want to go to like my favorite little trail. It would be so much funnier if he got there and there was just like a
Walmart,
a
strip mall,
just like one of those big power substations.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Except I don't think he would start going after professors. He would just bomb power stations.
Yeah. He should have done that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he shouldn't have fucking bombed computer stores. Like,
yeah, right.
What a fucking weirdo.
So there's a lot more to the manifesto. Like he goes into how leftists are like this are this symptom of mental health issues in the country, but he also talks about how like conservatives I mean, he called out conservatives like perfectly.
Oh, really?
He basically says that they care so much about traditional values, but anytime there's something that benefits them, even if it goes directly against those traditional values, they jump on it like rabid dogs.
Yeah.
Perfect. He like what's that called? That contradiction. That's so
It's
common.
the whole like leopards ate my face thing.
Exactly.
Like,
He called that out.
person
so
complains
early.
about leopards eating face after voting for the leopard eating face party. Like
Exactly. And then he talks about how fascists are bad, and he talks they're kooks, and he talks about like
kooks.
Communists are bad. He talks about how anarcho-primitivists are
It's
bad.
like,
Which
anybody that isn't Ted Kaczynski is
he
bad.
literally said every political party is bad, and even
And I'm unaffiliated.
even anarcho-primitivists, which that's exactly what he was advocating for.
Yeah,
But he
he's
said, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
okay.
weird shit.
I could understand if he was like, even people like me are bad. Like,
Yeah,
that
but
would be
no.
like,
He
okay,
didn't have
he's
that
looking
level of
inward.
self-awareness.
But no, yeah.
So since the bombings began, obviously, the U.S. Postal Inspectors and the FBI were investigating. The FBI task force, I'm going to blitz through this part.
Yeah.
FBI task force it got up to 150 people, but the bombs were made of common scrap that were anywhere, and the targets were chosen from library-available research, so they really couldn't narrow it down.
Yeah.
They offered a $1 million reward. Somebody did claim it. In his psych profile, he was found. They basically did a profile on him, and they said, "Oh, he's above average intelligence, connected to academia, possibly a neo-Luddite," which is like an anarcho-primitivist. It's like people who are like technophobic, essentially. He probably has a degree in the hard sciences, and then in the hard sciences, and then the FBI was like, "No, that's probably not right." In 1983. Even though that was literally a dead-on profile. The other profile was the bomber is a blue-collar airplane mechanic, and they based it on the fake clues.
It's because when they were like, oh, yeah, he has a really high-ranked degree in the hard sciences. Potentially went to an Ivy League university, and someone who went to Harvard was like, no, none
of us would do that.
No, nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
It's just like, oh, God.
Yeah, the other psychiatrist or psychologist.
The guy doing the write-up was like, has interest and a degree in the then just backspace.
Yeah, because it's him.
Yeah. He's like, wait a minute.
Hold on, this is me.
Just looks in a mirror and points.
So now let's go back to David. Brother David.
Yeah.
He comes back in the story. He's married. He's living life. He's actually doing really well. He's a good guy. Smart guy.
Not a fucking loser.
Oh, yeah.
Like
And
his nerd brother.
his wife is following the story like someone who's into true crime. Like, she's into this story. She's following all of it. And as the story goes on, she starts recognizing, like, I think this is Ted.
She's like,
I think this is my brother-in-law.
man, that manifesto had lines
Now, this is pre-manifesto.
directly from what Ted has talked about at family dinner.
Oh, God. You're kind of close on some things that come up later. So this is pre-manifesto, and she starts to suspect her brother-in-law, and she's like, David, you should probably look into this. And he's like,
It's like,
he's
do I
weird.
have to talk to my brother?
He's weird, but he's just out there doing, like, survivalist shit. Like, it's okay. He's harmless.
He always tases me when he fucking questions my morals.
Yeah. And after the manifesto was published, well, they like published little parts of it first because he had leaked a little bit to it or of what the content was. And she's like, no, this is Ted. Like,
Oh, yeah.
This is right. Everything he's been talking about. Yeah, family dinner, pretty much.
Oh, 100%.
So the manifesto gets published. She convinces David to read it. And David was like, oh, fuck, this is Ted. Like, this is my brother.
Damn it.
So David goes to his attic.
They're like, oh, this is Ted. And they get to the last page and it's just like, bye,
Heart.
Ted.
Ted Kaczynski. He's like, oh, it's a moniker.
Ah, fuck.
They're lying. So he
It's
actually...
someone who wants to be him. I promise, honey.
This is really interesting. He doesn't break in. He goes up into his attic and opens his box where he was saving, some family stuff.
Ted does or David?
David. And he pulls out some newspapers that Ted had written into and had some stuff published about to protest the abuses of technology back in the 70s.
And it's
and some of them are word for word parts of the manifesto. And he's like, oh, fuck. So David hires a private investigator to go check out Ted. And he hires an attorney. Genius. Yeah. Genius thing. Because his whole idea is...
Look who the real smart one is, Ted.
It really... Yeah. So they organize any and all evidence that they can grab to avoid a confrontation like Waco or Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
Like the last two high-profile cases kind of ended bad. And they're like, we don't want Ted to die, but he obviously needs help. That's their whole idea. So they're like, we need to gather the evidence. We need to work with an attorney to get it to the FBI.
Airstrike his home.
Yeah. Burn it down with him in it. They actually get the writing in the manifesto, like the writing style in the manifesto and in the earlier letters, independently verified as potentially matching. And they're also doing this to hide David's identity. They don't want David to be on the news. He doesn't want to be involved in this. He doesn't even really want to be interviewed.
It fucks you.
It fucks you. Especially when you just turn in your brother.
Yeah.
Which, not great. Doesn't look good. So
I mean, it looks better than if you don't turn in your brother.
Yeah, exactly. So he knew he had to do it. But the FBI goes, they interview him, they, double check that they've already done. And basically they get enough from him to get a search warrant. But Dan Rather of the CBS gets involved. He learns, he's got connections. He learns, oh, they're moving on a suspect.
Yeah.
And he calls the FBI director and is like, hey, I actually know who turned in. I know it was his brother, David.
Yeah.
And literally only the FBI and David and his wife, and I guess the attorney, actually knew. So it was an FBI leak. So basically the FBI director says, give us 24 hours to serve the warrant before you post this story. Otherwise, it's just going to tip off Ted. And he's going to either bomb himself or us, and it just makes a dangerous situation. So, yeah, David's identity gets leaked. They serve the warrant. And Ted is arrested in his cabin. And they actually did an internal investigation to try to find who the leak was. Never figured it out.
Yeah. It's Dan.
Yeah. It's Dan, the FBI agent.
Yeah.
Dan
the secret FBI
Prather.
agent leak. Yeah. Dan Prather.
Yeah. Jan Prather.
Yeah.
So
when he's Dan Rather, he just has a mustache.
Yeah. So they go to the cabin, they find bombs, components, 40,000 handwritten pages of journal.
Damn, dude.
And the original handwritten manifesto before it was typed up with a typewriter.
I mean,
and
the only two things you do are fucking write your own crazy thoughts and make bombs. I can see 40,000 pages.
And avoid antipsychotic medication.
Yeah.
So the task force ended up having spent $50 million. And that includes, that's not adjusted for inflation, to catch Ted Kaczynski. It was the most expensive investigation that the FBI had ever done up to that point.
Woo!
Yeah, and they honestly didn't catch him. It was his brother recognizing the manifesto.
Put everything together.
There's no way they ever would have found him if he never put out that manifesto.
It's not like they released a fucking profile and Dan and his wife were like, oh shit.
David and his wife?
Yeah, David and his wife. Sorry, Dan Rather stuck in my mind.
Right? Same.
Yeah, David David gets like the profile and it's like, oh my God, that's my brother. It's like they put everything together. They did better work than the FBI did on this.
Yeah, straight up. And they did it smarter. So he was indicted on 10 counts of transporting, mailing, and using bombs. David got the $1 million reward money and actually set up a trust to return as much of that money as possible to the victims and the victims' families of the
He
Unabomber.
just builds a fucking oil field.
Yeah, he used it to actually bulldoze Montana, bow to stern.
He's like, I'm going to spend $1 million to destroy the hilltop that my brother lived on.
It's like, you were an eco-terrorist?
And we're gonna
I'm
take-
a techno-terrorist.
We're going to take all
Nukes
that.
it.
We're going to take all that dirt and we're going to reroute the Mississippi.
Yeah, all the way up here.
We're just going to dump it into the Mississippi and make it erode into wherever the fuck it does.
Yeah, so the family
Ted's like,
obviously... No, God, no. No, the family, they've been working this whole time so that Ted would not get the death penalty. They were like, get him help, put him in prison for the rest of his life, but don't just execute him.
Yeah, which is fair. I
he
think
still has
that
a lot
should
to
be,
contribute.
I think that should be the case in all prison systems.
Yeah. They, like, so they start kind of spreading rumors that he's a paranoid schizophrenic, like making up stories from before.
Yeah.
His defense team, his state-mandated
Pushing for
defense team,
pleading insanity.
starts pushing for the insanity defense, and Ted fires him. Ted says, no, I'm not crazy.
Oh, God, Ted.
And he hires a new one who said, oh, yeah, I won't go for the insanity defense. Gets hired, immediately goes for the
he has
insanity
his fucking
defense.
fingers crossed behind his
Yeah.
back. I promise, Ted.
Pretty much.
Then looks at the camera.
He starts getting all sorts of weird diagnoses that people refer to them as political diagnoses. Like, the one doctor comes in and says, he's a paranoid schizophrenic 100%. And then another doctor comes in and says, I mean, he's a he's got some social problems. He's been isolated for a long time. I really think...
Foghorn Leghorn with a fucking doctor thing on.
Yeah.
He comes in, I do declare he is the most normal man I've ever met.
Yeah, they say, like, yeah, he has some issues, but it's not like he's not insane. And he eventually gets cleared and found, what's that called? Competent to stand trial.
Yeah.
And he pled guilty and got 8 consecutive life sentences without the possibility for parole. And you'd think this is where the story ends. And this is, I think, 1998, by the way. He actually meets somebody in prison called Ramzi Youssef, who was the 1993 World Trade Center bomber. They became friends.
Oh, great.
Then he met Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber, and they also became friends.
Wow. Who could have ever expected that?
And people, like, because of the nature and kind of truth in a lot of his manifesto, a lot of people reach out to him in both professional, educational, and just to reach out. They send him a lot of mail. There are actually 400 correspondences
Wow.
at the University of Michigan Library Special Collection. That
Jesus.
All of the, like, you don't know who it came from or who he's communicating with.
Yeah, but they just have the conversation that was had.
Yeah, and it's the most popular section at that library.
Oh, yeah.
People come from all over the place.
Definitely see that.
And all of the correspondence identities are sealed until 2049,
Okay.
and then they'll be released. And I don't know, it's kind of a rough situation where it's another one of those complex characters where you're like, yeah, the bombing was really bad, but I totally understand some of the technology shit.
Yeah, like
he was kind of right on that.
You can agree with the way that he thinks.
So you're saying
but
you agree
don't
with the
have to-
Unabomber?
You don't have to agree with his methods.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he's considered, the internet's favorite terrorist.
yeah.
Also, he ended up getting ass cancer, rectal
Hell.
cancer. He
Oof.
started bleeding from his ass. He went to the doctor.
Prison will do that to you.
Yeah, you'd think. He does chemo for 2 years, and then he decides the side effects are just too rough. I'm not going to do chemo anymore. And then he hung himself with a shoelace string.
Oh!
In 2023,
Damn.
June 2023, 1 year
Jesus.
ago to this
damn.
episode.
June 2nd, 2023.
I don't know what the day was.
Just
It was
in
just June. Yeah.
Wowza.
Ass cancer will get you, and so will shoelaces in
You'd be
prison.
a fucking light motherfucker to hang hang by shoestring.
No, you get
strong
you get creative.
shoestring.
A lot of people, I don't want to give people ideas, but a lot of times they anchor it to the top, tie it around their neck, anchor it to something, and then slouch
Oh, I see.
until it's enough.
I always imagine them just like hanging.
It's not-
From like
he's
a
not
fucking,
hanging.
I just imagine
No.
them hanging from like a ceiling.
He's
fan.
not hanging from
and
a
it's
ceiling
a
fan.
shoestring that's just like threads holding on.
Yeah.
And it's like
No,
whoa.
no.
I
Also,
get what you're saying.
They
yeah.
they start to do like compressions, resuscitation and stuff because he's not fully dead, and they like ribs are breaking, which happens, but he's got a really diseased liver at this point
Did
from the chemo
burst?
and from being born in the 1940s. So it kind of bled a lot. He gets to a hospital. He survives for like another day, just like in horrible condition. His blood pressure never goes back up enough to actually oxygenate his brain enough to wake up.
They like put him down.
And then they're finally like, all right, well,
Pull the plug.
We're not paying to keep this brain dead bomber on life support. So
You still have 7 more life sentences to
yeah,
serve.
bring him back. He needs to get all 7. But yeah,
I'll count this one for 2.
yeah, I'm feeling generous.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I've
fucking-
wanted to talk about the Unabomber for a long time.
Yeah, you
And
fucking would.
Yeah, 100%. If the bombing obviously didn't work,
Nah,
but he's kind of right.
It's
Technology is, if changes are not made, like we're fucked.
I mean, they haven't been made.
Exactly.
This is a world of tech. Catch up with the times, old man.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. As I read this and did this story from an iPad, that we're talking into
asshole.
microphones that go into a.
You guys wouldn't even know about this without the technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting story.
Good old Ted.
Good old Ted,
Good old Terrorist Teddy.
Terrorist Teddy.
Well, if you guys would like an additional episode every month that comes out on the first day of the next month, check us out on Patreon. If you would like ad-free listening, check us out on Patreon. If you would like additional content in the form of sloppy seconds and AJ's series called Voices, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/points-o-pressure. You got those names?
You know I do. We've got Never Built a Bomb, Minnie D. Thomas and Toddlewaddle on the board.
Yeah.
The board,
The Uniboard.
the Exxon Board of Trustees, sponsored by Exxon.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Nordic Thunder, Weston, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, G-Dog, Grover, Hayden, and Lindo. Thank you all so much.
Yeah,
We appreciate you being here.
It's fantastic. We would be here without you, but we wouldn't be doing
definitely
as
help.
well without you. So we really, really do appreciate you. Well, yeah, as always, if you guys ever have any recommendations for movies, TV shows, books, hot, sexy magazines, recipes, secret ingredient recipes, by all means, reach out to us on Instagram. And if you just want somebody to fucking talk to, reach out to us as well. Instagram @pointsopressure. Feel free to email us at ppdnaj@gmail.com, or go to our website, send us a voicemail, go to contact us, send us an email, whatever. We'll catch you guys next Monday.